Hi, welcome back to Kingdom Moving. Yes. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Yes. Do you see what this means? All these pioneers who blazed the way, all these veterans cheering us on. It means we better get on with it. Strip down, start running, and never quit. No extra spiritual fat. No parasitic sins. Keep your eyes on Jesus, who both begin and finish this race we're in. Study how he did it, because he never lost sight of where he was headed. That exhilarating finish, and with God, he could put up with anything. Along the way, cross, shame, whatever, didn't matter. And now he's there in a place of honor right alongside God. When you find yourself flagging in your faith, go over that story again, item by item, that long litany of hostility he plowed through that will shoot adrenaline into your souls. In this all-out match against sin, others have suffered far worse than you, to say nothing of what Jesus went through, all that blood shed. So don't feel sorry for yourselves, or have you forgotten how good parents treat children, and that God regards you as his children? Why, dear child, don't you shrug off God's discipline? But don't be crushed by it either. It's the child he loves that he disciplines, the child he embraces. He also corrects. God is educating you. That's why you must never drop out. He's treating you as a dear child. This trouble you're in isn't punishment. It's training. The normal experience of children, only irresponsible parents leave children to fend for themselves. Would you prefer an irresponsible God? No. We respect our own parents for training and not spoiling us. So why not embrace God's training so we can truly live? While we were children, our parents did what seems best to them. But God is doing what is best for us, training us to live God's holy best. At the time, discipline isn't much fun. It always feels like it's going against the grain. Later, of course, it pays off big time. For it's the well-trained who find themselves mature in their relationship with God. So don't sit around on your hands. No more dragging your feet. Clear the path for long-distance runners, so no one will trip and fall. So no one will step in a hole and sprain their ankle. Help each other out and run for it. Work at getting along with each other and with God. Otherwise, you'll never get so much as a glimpse of God. Make sure no one gets left out of God's generosity. Keep a sharp eye out for weeds of bitter discontent. A thistle or two gone to seed can ruin a whole garden in no time. Watch out for the Esau syndrome, trading away God's lifelong gift in order to satisfy a short-term appetite. You well know how Esau later regretted that impulsive act and wanted God's blessing, but then it was too late. Tears or no tears. Unlike your ancestors, you didn't come to Mount Sinai, all that volcanic blaze and earth-shaking rumbling to hear God speak. The ear-splitting words and soul-shaking message terrified them, and they begged him to stop. When they heard the words, if an animal touched the mountain, it's as good as dead, They were afraid to move. Even Moses was terrified. No, that's not your experience at all. You've come to Mount Zion, a city where the living God resides. The invisible Jerusalem is populated by drones and festive angels and Christian citizens. It is the city where God is judge with judgments that makes us just. You've come to Jesus, who presents us with a new covenant, a fresh Charlotte from God. He is the mediator of this covenant. Yes. The murder of Jesus, unlike Abel's, a homicide that cried out for vengeance of grace. So don't turn a deaf ear to these gracious words. If those who ignore earthly warnings didn't get away with it, what will happen to us if we turn our backs on heavenly warnings? His voice that time shook the earth to its foundation. This time, he's told us this quite plainly. He'll also rock the heavens, one last shaking from top to bottom, stem to stern. The phrase one last shaking means a thorough house cleaning, getting rid of all historical and religious junk. Yes. So that the unshakable essentials stand clear and uncluttered. Do you see what we've got? An unshakable kingdom. And do you see how thankful we must be? Not only thankful, but brimming with worship. Deeply reverent before God. For God is not an indifference bystander. He's actively cleansing house, torching all that needs to burn, and he won't quit until it is all cleansed. God himself is fire. That's the word for today, children. So I'm glad you came back to hear God speak again. So have a blessed day, and please subscribe. God is always talking over here. God bless you.